Hello, my name is Alan Mayer, and probably 3 months ago I was just like you sitting in the audience at the seminar Dr. Costello gives you. A little background. I'm 86 years young and in basically good health. However, 30 years ago I discovered I was having a problem with my feet. At that time I was living in New Jersey, so we were very close to New York City, and I had available to me the best doctors in the United States of America, and I started what I didn't realize was going to be a circus performance of going to the best doctors and having them look at me, and when they get all through saying there's nothing they could do for me. So when you hear that to you, at that time I was probably about 30 years ago, talking about I was 56 years old. I did nothing about it until we moved to Florida, and that was 15 years later. When I came down here to Florida, it was starting to bother me a little more, and I finally found somebody that I knew that was a professional physiotherapist, and I asked him, did he know anybody that could help diagnose what I had, because I still didn't know what I had. I knew that I had a problem with my feet. I had no sensation. I was having little problems with my balance, and he sent me to a doctor down in West Palm Beach who examined me and gave me an exam that I hadn't had before, including electrical analysis of what was happening between the knees and the bottom of my feet. When he got through, he diagnosed it as a poly-neuropathy, saying I had a condition that was affecting both my legs, between my knee and the bottom of my feet. There was no transmission neurologically, and there was no feeling. Any of the tests that he gave showed that I had essentially no feeling between. When he got through with that, I said, well, what do we do about it? He said, there's nothing you can do about it. I wasn't very happy about that, but there are a lot of things you got to live with, and that I decided at that point I would live with it. And I lived that way until about 3 years ago, I discovered that my balance was getting worse every day, almost to a point of where I was living in abject fear of falling. When I got up, if I sat down for 5 or 10 minutes or lay down for 5 or 10 minutes, if I got up, I needed 30 to 60 seconds to balance myself before I felt comfortable taking a step out. And I read the same advertisement that you read, inviting me to a seminar for somebody that said that he could cure neuropathies. And I came to the seminar. I listened to what you just heard, essentially the same thing. It interested me. I went home, I thought about it, and decided I would call Dr. Costello and have him examine me and see what his analysis of my condition was, which he did do, and he laid out what his program was. It involved 15 treatments, which took about somewhere less than a half hour, give or take a few minutes, and he wanted me to do that three treatments a week for a period of 5 weeks. I came home, talked to my wife and explained to her it was not an inconsequential amount of money and not covered by insurance, or at this point neither Medicare or my supplemental insurance would help me with it. Whereupon I called my daughter and told her about it, and I guess was a little hesitant, and she said, Dad, what's the matter? Are you crazy? I said, what do you mean? She said, well, if you don't do this, what hope is there for you? Well, I said, there's none. So they said, what are you asking me for my advice? Is, do you take your shot? You know, you can go to Las Vegas and lose money. Here you're gambling about your health. So I came down and I made arrangements to subscribe to the 15 treatments. I will have to tell you, it's almost like magic. You have to remember, nobody touches you. You take no pills. There are no shots. Just a simple high wattage laser beam that is focused on your legs up and down. I like she's like the therapist who administers the treatment. She's like a witch, I suppose, with this magic wand. But after 3 treatments, my guess is, and I reported to the doctor, that I was in a state of shock. I figured at that point, after the 3rd treatment, I had gotten back 50 to 70% of my ability to do things with my feet. And my balance had improved, I would say, 70% better than it was before. I no longer had to hesitate when I stood up. I felt comfortable, and my fear of falling almost evaporated. I continued the rest of the treatments. There have been no dramatic improvements, but there's been no fallback. I'm comfortable. Recently the doctor did a test of me on my skin, which is a pinprick test, and it's the first time in 30 years I actually felt the pin when it was applied to my forelegs. So he says that he has about a 70%, 70 to 80% success ratio with neuropathies. That's a pretty good set of odds to live with, because the results, I don't have to tell anybody that suffered from this. And incidentally, I had, in my neuropathy, I was one of the fortunate ones. I had the type of neuropathy that was not basically a pain-oriented neuropathy. I understand that can be very common. It can be very painful. I didn't have that. So this was only a question of my balance and perception of what was happening to me. And it's the best money I've spent in a long, long time. And I hope it continues this way. And he's also told me that if it's possible that it could recede and that he could restore the recession with quarterly treatments to get me back to where I am today, which I would be perfectly thrilled with. So anybody who goes along with this, I wish you the best of luck. I hope you're just as successful as I was. Thank you.